Now when you first see the title of this video, you're probably thinking,
But Darth, all 100 minigames have already been revealed. How are you going to do this?
well, you see, I was actually quietly working on this video a couple of months ago, almost completing it until that godforsaken September Direct just had to happen and spoil all of the minigames. However, since I already had a script from before it, I realized I could still do this video. It's just that it will be less about predicting the minigames and more of how many of my predictions were correct. So please just sit back and watch my minigame predictions from a 2-week outdated script, and we'll see how many of my predictions made it in. So, anyways, hi everyone, I'm Albert Boris. So far on my channel, I've made my own personal predictions for what boards and characters I'd like to see in Mario Party Superstars. And I've also made my own ranking of every single Mario Party board on the N64, based on their likelihood to return in this game. And I made a top 10 list on what I believe are most likely characters to be playable. So now, only one matter remains: the minigames. The minigames are usually everyone's favorite part of a Mario Party, because let's be real, every Mario Party has good minigames. However, there's the reason I've waited so long to predict the minigames for this game, because there are just so many of them. No matter what I predict, there's no way to accurately predict the likelihood of minigames. As proven in Mario Party Top 100, they did not pick minigames based on how popular they were, and as proven by Mario Party Superstars, a minigame being similar to another one does not deconfirm its appearance. Oh, and also minigames return from the top 100. So, how am I going to predict the minigames? Well, I've still set up some rules for me. For one, I'm not going to predict any minigames from Mario Party 1, 2 or 3. This isn't just because they're the games I'm the least familiar with, but when you look at the list of confirmed minigames, yeah, it seems like almost all of them are already in. So instead, I will look at minigames from the 4th game and onward. And to not make my predictions too repetitive, I'm going to predict 3 minigames from each of these games. And they have to be different kinds of minigames. For example, I'm not going to predict only free-for-all minigames for a certain game. You get what I'm saying? So, with that being said, let's start the predictions. We start off by predicting 3 minigames from the first of the GameCube entries, Mario Party 4. From what I've seen, this game usually has the reputation of containing one of the best minigame selections of the entire series, and I can't see why. The minigames in this entry are typically a little more unique and require a few extra steps for you to win, as opposed to many other games where there is just one thing to do. Just take Dungeon Duels for example, one of the most acclaimed minigames of all time. Okay, so I know it might seem repetitive when every single prediction video in this game wants this minigame to return, but seriously, it's that good. It's a real shame it was snubbed in the top 100, but hopefully ND Cube learned their lesson and adds this minigame to this game. So that's my choice for the 2 vs 2 minigame. My next choice of minigame is Paths of Peril, another really acclaimed minigame. This one, unlike Dungeon Duels, did make an appearance in the top 100, so I guess that was cool. However, I still would like to see it again. As proven by minigames like Book Squirm or Eats a Pizza, a minigame returning in the top 100 did not deconfirm its appearance in Superstars. So I vote for Paths of Peril, since I really love this minigame. I would have maybe picked Bob-omb Xing instead. However, we already have a bonus minigame from 4 confirmed in this game, so I think Paths of Peril might be a better choice. I should also mention that there's a minigame confirmed for this game titled Thread Carefully. Since no retro minigame is called that, it's got to be another name change of an existing minigame, similar to how Toadstool Titan from Mario Party 3 was renamed Mushbits. So whatever minigame is called Thread Carefully, I think this minigame has one of the highest chances. Now as for picking a 1 vs 3 minigame, it's a little bit harder, because for me personally, this game has my least favorite collection of 1 vs 3 minigames. They're just so dull and repetitive in comparison to say the 2 vs 2 minigames. Of these minigames, Tree Stump is the least bad one, and the only one I wouldn't mind seeing return. Although honestly, I'd prefer them to have Goomba Stomp, but we already have an extras minigames confirmed for this game, so I don't want it to be too repetitive. So that wraps up my Mario Party 4 predictions. And how ironic is that we go from the game with one of the strongest collections to the one with one of the weakest collections of minigames. Mario Party 5 is infamous in terms of minigames. I don't really need to explain why, just take a shot every time you play a button masher or a luck based minigame in this entry. You'll be unconscious in seconds. As such, predicting minigames from this entry was a little harder for me than for the rest of the games. However, there is a small minority of underrated gems in this game, from Pushy Penguins, Hotel Goomba, Bill Blasters, and Frozen Frenzy. Yeah, whenever I hear people talk about good Mario Party 5 minigames, I typically hear those first three, but never Frozen Frenzy, which is surprisingly enough always had a soft spot in my heart. I don't really know why, I just know that I dig the Icy Cavern theme and the thought of fighting over crystals inside of it. So that's one of my predictions. Another kind of minigame I usually dig are the pinball themed levels. So far, none of the confirmed minigames are pinball themed, so if there is to be one, my prediction is that it will be Panic Pinball. This one exemplifies everything a pinball minigame should have. Other ones like Pinball Fall or Balldozers may be set inside of a pinball machine, however, they don't utilize all the features of one like Pinball Panic does. You really do work with your teammate to get the most points by playing a pinball machine, and it can get really hectic at times. As for my last prediction, since we already have a 1 vs 3 minigame confirmed from this game, I'm going to predict a duel minigame instead. You might think, oh maybe there won't be any duel minigames in this game, to which I reply Mass Meteor. And of course, we all know which Mario Party 5 duel minigame will make a return. It's the one, the legend, it's Get a Rope! Nah, I'm just kidding, it's Shock Absorbers. Get the fuck out of here, Rope! Anyways, that wraps up my Mario Party 5 trio. Quite a decent trio considering the circumstances. So let's venture forth to a more balanced collection of minigames in Mario Party 6. So far, the confirmed minigames from this game are as following: What Goes Up, Rocky Road, and Mass Meteor. So as you can see, this time I'm going to leave out the 2 vs 2 minigame in my predictions, and instead focus on a 1 vs 3 minigame, as opposed to my Mario Party 5 predictions. And my prediction for the next 1 vs 3 minigame is the cult classic Crate and Peril. I know people hate this minigame, I do too, but since when did that mean ND Cube wouldn't add it? We had Heatstroke and Button Mashers in the top 100, and they were arguably even worse minigames. So if ND Cube is going to add a bad minigame in this collection, let it be at least Crate and Peril, which is not as awful as some other minigames. So let's focus on a more positive minigame instead. When it came to picking a free-for-all / battle minigame, it was a little difficult. Most people want to see Insectoride return, but I also want to pick a slightly more obscure choice for this prediction, but honestly, looking at these predictions, none of them I really care that much for to return, so yeah, I'm also voting for Insectoride. I mean, it's great, enough said. Now, as we've seen with Mario's Puzzle Party and Shell Sucker, it's been proven that bonus minigames will also make a return to Mario Party Superstars, and as such, I've decided that for my third Mario Party 6 minigame, I'm going to pick an Extras minigame. Now, when it comes to bonus minigames, I'm going to have to be a little more creative, because most likely, there will only be around 5 to 6 bonus minigames in Mario Party Superstars, and as with every other Mario Party, in that regard, I think all bonus minigames will need to be a little more different from each other. So my pick for the third Mario Party 6 minigame is going to be Black Star. This has always been one of my favorite bonus minigames. You really needed to be swift and cunning in order to get the best possible score out of it. And so that wraps up my Mario Party 6 predictions. And so we go on to Mario Party 7. In my opinion, this game has one of the stronger collections of minigames of all Mario Parties. A lot of them are simply great, and most of the weaker ones are simply just subpar. So I guess these predictions will be easy, right? Well, not really. Mario Party 7 has the highest number of minigames in the entire series, excluding the top 100. And there are just so many different types of minigames in this game that it's nuts. You've got 4-player minigames, 1 vs 3 minigames, 2 vs 2 minigames, battle minigames, duel minigames, 8-player minigames, 4 vs 4 mic minigames, and so much more. So like, I really don't know what to pick from here. So I'm just going to pick needles from a haystack at this point. However, one minigame I'd like to see return from Mario Party 7 would be Spider Stomp. I also believe it's a little more unique than most of the other minigames in this game, so by that merit I think it has a slightly higher chance. And same with Fun Run. And for my third pick, it's going to be another bonus minigame actually, Stick and Spin. It's a much easier puzzle minigame than Black Star, but it's still quite hectic. I have never cared too much for it, but if we're getting more bonus minigames than just 2 or 3, I'm certain that this will be one of them. And that wraps up the Mario Party 7 minigames of my predictions. Now we get to the entry I've been looking forward to the most to talk about, Mario Party 8. Don't blame me, it's a childhood favorite. Mario Party 8 is the only one out of all Mario Party games of the console entries to have no confirmed representation in Mario Party Superstars yet. Every other game has at least had one minigame revealed from their game, even Mario Party 10, but not 8. We all wonder how this can be. Is it because ND Cube doesn't like Mario Party 8? Is it because of the motion controls? I mean, when you think about it, around 95% of all Mario Party 8 minigames are motion controlled. And the ones that aren't are the best ones. So you might think that because of the motion controls, maybe this restricts their ability to port over enough minigames. But then you look at the top 100 and the only 3 minigames returning from Mario Party 8 were original and motion controlled. So you know what, we're completely free to predict what minigames we wanted in this game. And because there are no minigames revealed from this game yet, I'm going to predict 4 minigames instead of the usual 3 because, well, obviously there can't just be 3 minigames from this game, right? So my predictions from this game are as following: Aim of the Game, Snow Way Out, King of the Thrill, and Rotation Station. Typically I don't like to predict minigames that have already been in the top 100, as I believe it would be more innovative to bring back minigames that have never been remade before. There's a reason every new Mario Kart had retro tracks that hadn't been brought back before. However, I'll give a pass to Aim of the Game, as I feel like NDCube just doesn't care much about this game at all. And in the worst case scenario, they'll just reuse minigames that were in the top 100 originally. And in that case, I hope it's Aim of the Game. At least it's not awful like Crank to Rank or At the Chomp Wash. Snow Way Out is the only 1 vs 3 minigame I like from this game, so obviously I want it to return and not something else. It's just a little more unique compared to the rest. And King of the Thrill is one of my favorite minigames from this game. Plus, it's again simple to understand. Rotation Station is probably the minigame I would most like to see return in Mario Party Superstars. The dual minigames in 8 are already my favorite in the entire franchise, and Rotation Station is the magnum opus. This has always been one of my all-time favorite minigames, simply because of how creative it is. You need to climb up to the top of a tower, however, because you can't exactly see where you are, you have the ability to rotate the camera to see where you are. This was such a cool idea and I would love to see it remade for this game. You could possibly walk around with an L stick and rotate the camera with the shoulder buttons. There are so many ways this minigame could work and it would be amazing to see it return. So those are the 4 minigames I want to see in Superstars from 8. And with Mario Party 8's selection out of the way, we get to the semi-final game on this prediction, Mario Party 9. In my opinion, Mario Party 9 has the greatest selection of minigames out of all the Mario Parties. It just has. It's the perfect combination of unique concepts, relaxing visuals, great tunes, and 2 of these best combinations will be Player Conveyor and Toad and Go Seek. Player Conveyor in particular is one of my favorite minigames of all time, for similar reasons that Rotation Station is. And who knew hide and seek would be so fun in a Mario Party game? And for the 1 vs 3 minigame, I pick Block and Roll. This is the only 1 vs 3 minigame I like from Mario Party 9, and that's kind of ironic as it's also the most unbalanced one. However, that's actually why I love it so much. It's so unbalanced that it's hard to take it seriously. While other minigames of this type are unbalanced when they're not supposed to be, the concept of Block and Roll is so silly that the unbalanced nature just works. I mean dude, you're literally trying to roll over the one. And with Mario Party 9's minigames out of the way, now we get to the final entry of the console games. There's not really much for me to say here that I haven't already said for the millions of other games on this list. Mario Party 10 probably has one of my least favorite collections of minigames overall, so whatever I picked, I couldn't help but notice I wasn't completely satisfied. My first 2 predictions for minigames from this game are Snake Block Party and Murky Maze, and guess why? I mean seriously though, in the sea of relatively mediocre Mario Party 10 minigames, you've got to admit, these ones are at least unique, as opposed to Flash Forward. The minigame I personally would love to see the most to return in Mario Party Superstars is Badminton Bash, our last bonus minigame of this prediction. This is my most wanted minigame out of all the minigames in the entire series, not just 10. It's my favorite bonus minigame from any Mario Party game, and I think it would be a real shame if it was snubbed in favor of an ordinary or bland minigame like Flash Forward. I've always loved the badminton sport. It's one of the few sports I can play and unironically enjoy, which is saying something because I hate sports. I don't know how many hours I put into Mario Party 10 just for this minigame's sake. I really want to see this minigame return, and seeing as it actually did make an appearance in the top 100, maybe I am correct. Just please change the music, it's seriously depressing. Either way, this wraps up all of my minigame predictions for Mario Party Superstars. So since I couldn't complete this video before the September trailer rolled in, I thought I should also quickly discuss my thoughts on the confirmed minigames in relativity to my predictions. Overall, it's a bit disappointing. Out of my 22 predictions, only 4 of them made it in. I was surprised that there were minigames from the N64 era that hadn't been confirmed yet because of the huge gap in quantity between it and the following entries. I definitely made a wise choice in predicting the GameCube bonus minigames. They were already in the top 100, and Mario's Puzzle Party in Superstars made me think that they had a chance too. And Dungeon Duos and Paths of Peril, they were obvious. However, I'm a bit disappointed with the rest. What's most embarrassing is that Bill Blasters, a minigame I just briefly mentioned and don't even care that much for, actually made it in over Frozen Frenzy. I was so close! And yet again, the Wii entries got slept over. 10 got flashed forward, again, and 9, which did have a fair representation in top 100, was less lucky this time. Seriously, there's 2 football related minigames from 9, and 8. I didn't think they'd actually give us even less minigames from the top 100. Granted, at least it's 2 good minigames instead of 3 mediocre ones. But still, if 3 can own a quarter of the roster, you'd think 8 could get a little more than just a duo. Also, is no one else bothered by the fact that we only have 3 dual minigames? Yeah, this roster is unbalanced. However, it's better than the top 100's roster. At least there are some more fan favorites around, and the bad minigames are mostly eradicated. And so anyways, that was my overly delayed video. What minigames did you predict from Mario Party Superstars? Did any of them get in? If you enjoyed this video, then please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. And now that Mario Party Superstars is coming out tomorrow, stay tuned for rankings on that game. With that being said, I'm signing off.